back to Cofield Company, live from the Golden Circle Sportsbook Bar inside Treasure Island.
So, Willie, I know you're spending today kind of bouncing around. I was over at UNLV football practice this morning for another scrimmage. We'll have an update on that, and we'll hear from head coach Dan Mullen at around 3:45. Overheard a conversation with Paul Guenther, former NFL DC, was with the Raiders. Guy's been coaching for like 22 years. Funny thing, he says he does not get nervous anymore before games. The most nervous he ever was back at Ursinus in Division whatever it was, 3 football when he was a head coach at 25 years old. So I'm assuming once you put your time in, the nerves aren't there anymore. Let's bring in Bruce Cassidy, who, of course, is coaching Vegas Golden Knights. Another Stanley Cup playoff entrant or playoff run is on the way here. Coach, how are you? It's Willie. It's Cofield.
I'm doing well, fellas. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. So I was just telling a story about Paul Guenther over with UNLV and formerly with the Raiders, just about nerves as a coach. You've been a head coach for a long time. Do you feel it anymore before the first game, before the playoffs start?
Not nerves, no. I think a little more anxious to get going. How's our team going to respond to what we've been talking about and preparing? How are they going to be? That's probably more the feelings I get. I don't get that nervous. I never did as a player either. Just the way I guess I'm wired.
Well, and with that, Bruce, I mean, you talked about it today, especially this year. The anxiety may subside a little bit. You talked about how healthy the Golden Knights are, especially compared to the championship season. And you had some dinged up guys, but I think the timing of the resting after Four Nations, it's really paid off. How healthy are the Golden Knights heading into the postseason?
Well, we should have every player available to us, so very healthy. I don't think any player would tell you they're 100% this time of year, but we're as close to it as I think we can be. We were able to rest some guys, Willie, as you know, down the stretch. Other guys needed to play to get sharp because they'd missed time. But in general, we're good. We're in good shape.
With the players who had to step up since the Four Nations face-off, when you were resting guys, and you talked about this today at the post-practice presser, Vegas, do you feel that it's a little deeper this season than it was?
Our depth or our
your depth.
I missed that.
Your depth.
Yeah, you know what? I thought we had good depth. 2 years ago, we ended up sitting like Phil Kessel, who had been in the league a long time, didn't play the whole playoffs. Paul Cotter, who had I think 15 goals, he was a young guy. D. Hutton was out, and Pahal, that were guys that had played for us. So I think it's very similar. Is what I'd say. I like our depth a lot. I liked it 2 years ago. And I think it's important. If you're going to have a run, you're going to use more than just your 18 skiers you start with typically, right? I mean, it's physical, it's intense. So you gotta rely on some other guys to get in there. So I like it. I'd say it's very similar to the cup year.
Once again, we're speaking with Bruce Cassidy, head coach of the Vegas Golden Knights. They get underway in the playoffs with the Minnesota Wild on Sunday, 7 o'clock at T-Mobile Arena. I asked you this earlier about your comment after the last home game and the last practice before you hit the road about the experimentation, the shuffling of some lines. With that, do the Knights, do you go right back to your most successful stretches of the season with your top lines, or did you see some things within experimentation that, hey, maybe we'll try this right off the bat?
I think we're going to go with the lines we've had the most success with. I mean, we're going to leave Carlson, Olofsson, and Smith have been very good since, Carly's come back, and we got Smitty through trade. So we don't have to mess around. I've liked Hurdle, Dorofayev, and Saad. They've been very good together. Hurdle missed a few weeks, but in general, they've been healthy. So it's just Jack and Stoney. Who's up there? Is it Barbie? Is it Howden? And then you got Block, Holisar, Pearson. So we have to decide that. But in general, we're going to revert back to those lines that we had earlier. But I think because guys have moved around, the positive side of losing guys to injury is you get to look at other players and in maybe a more advanced role. So that can come handy down the road, right? So if you're able to get through it, we got through it. So that's how we're going to approach it to start, see how it turns out.
As a coach, you have expectations when training camp starts. And I'm just curious, are there any players that were a pleasant surprise, not because you didn't expect it, but because they've sort of gone above and beyond and like, wow, where did this come from? It's great to have it.
Well, I mean, yes and no. I don't want to, you don't want to put a ceiling on a player, but you don't know until he does it. And Dorfai is a great example. We thought he could score. He scored a bit last year when he played. Let's give him a full-time role. Let's put him in the power play, see how he does. So, but I mean, we didn't expect 35 goals, but we knew he could score eventually in this league. And he's turned the corner quickly and cannot translate to the playoffs. He's a young guy, hasn't been through it, so we'll see. But Howden, Kolasar have had very good years, but we also knew, I mean, they've been around us for a few years, that maybe given an increased role, they could handle it. So I think it was more about, let's see what they can do with that increased role. And it wasn't a case of, well, we're going to close our eyes and hope. I think we all felt that there was good upside there, and felt positive about them being able to do it. And they have an Aiden Hill up put in there, right?
Yep.
He had never played a full season being healthy, and we always thought he had it in him. I mean, he won a cup, so playing very well, and he'd played parts of seasons, then got injured. So we're just hoping, hey, a full year, and he's been able to do that. So a lot of guys that we figured would have. So, good for them. It's helped the team a lot.
Bruce Cassidy, head coach, Vegas Golden Knights, joining us on Cofield Company, ESPN Las Vegas. So let's talk a little bit about the Wild. 3-0 against them this season, but Minnesota, of course, was without Kirill Kaprizov the last two games. How big of a difference maker is he, even against a team as deep as Vegas? I mean, could he switch a game around that quick?
He can, if you're not checking well and you're not accounting for him and not playing him honestly and hard, he's going to do some damage no matter what, but you can't let him, you have to make him work for his ice, right? Work for his space. And that's a bit of the mental game of the playoffs, right? Making guys, earn it every night. And maybe they'll have a game where it goes their way, but if you can get them out of their rhythm and out of their game enough times, well, I think that'd be a big plus for us. It's a big part of our game plan because he is that good. He's a good hockey player. He's competitive. He's second and third effort guy, and you got to keep him in check, or otherwise, he gets excited, and their team will feed off that energy. So that's our task.
I saw a stat. One of the local media guys had pointed out that, on paper, statistically, the Golden Knights appear to be a better team than the Wild. But there's one area, the save percentage is higher with the Wild, but they've also Gustafsson's seen a lot more shots than you guys. Go back to training camp. You said, I want to be the best defensive team in the Pacific Division. By limiting those shots, right, that Hill has seen or whoever's been in net. Now that you're in the playoffs and everybody's turning it up a notch, is that a benefit? Can all of a sudden, if more shots come in, can that be a detriment? How do you try to balance that?
Well, it's where the shots are coming from, right? We have a system in place. We try to take away the middle of the ice and get the shots where we want them coming from the outside. The goalie has an easier chance to track it and control the rebound, and put the puck back in a place that's more advantageous to us so we can recover it and get going. So that'll be our goal again. That won't change. They're good at it too, Minnesota. I don't think you're going to see a lot of high-end grade A chances in this series if both teams play true to form, right? So when you do get one, you have to finish well. That's where I think we have a bit of an advantage up and down the lineup with our depth. But we'll see. We'll see if we're able to finish well when we do get opportunities. But that's how I see it. And I just felt in training camp, if we were that team, we'd have the best chance to win. And listen, LA has a very good goals against. We're right there with them, right in our division. But to me, I think we ended up third or fourth in the league. So that means you're very good at that, and that's our identity, and that's what I think helped us win a cup 2 years ago.
Once again, speaking with head coach Bruce Cassidy with the Golden Knights, opening up Sunday at T-Mobile against the Minnesota Wild. Bruce, people like to look at stats and analytics, and at this point of the season, the presence of certain personalities that has to be just as important, things that don't show up on the stat sheet. Who for you is a good example of that, whose mere presence makes a difference?
William Karlsson, for sure.
Yeah.
You can check anybody in the league. He allows us to use his line against, and they're all good. Smith and Olofsson are they're not the biggest guys, but they can all skate, great hockey IQs, good sticks. They know how to check, right? And they're a threat offensively. So we can use them against anybody. It allows us to free up our more offensive lines, the Eichel and Hurdle lines that are, high-end offensive guys against maybe lesser lines on the other team. So that's it. He is a guy that allows you to do that. I think Nick Waugh's line, I'd use them as a whole line. They're big and physical, and they can play against anybody. That was an advantage we had a few years ago, should be again this year. So the matchup game should work for us in that regard. And that helps you a lot, Willie, on the road when you don't get to control that, when the other team gets last change. So having that luxury is real important to us.
I know you got to get out of here. You got a haircut coming up. I got to ask you now, do you go to a traditional barber or do you have a stylist?
No, I'll tell you, I'll be honest. I go to Salon X. There's a girl there that my wife found for our kids. Okay. And I said, well, just throw me on the list. I'll go in there. I'm not that fussy. You've seen my hair. It's not much to crow about. So just try to, keep it, neat, and hopefully it grows back every time I hit the barber.
Speaking of your kids, is your son still playing baseball? Is he still in season? Wasn't he playing in the middle of a season last time we talked?
He is. His hockey season they went to the Nationals, right? So it took a big chunk out of it. It just ended a few weeks ago. So he missed a lot of time early on. So he's playing catch up a little bit. He's at the Meadows School. He plays on their high school team. He's a young guy. He's only a ninth grader, so he doesn't play a lot. But when he does a good job. He works hard at it. He loves it. So he'll get to play a little more now that hockey's over.
I have to imagine that is a breath of fresh air. Not that you don't enjoy what you do, especially when you have a team like the Golden Knights, but when you could just be dad, right? Step out of take the coach's hat off, show up. I'm sure the parents show their respect and just let you be a dad. Is that sort of a nice getaway for you?
It is, and the people here in Vegas are awesome. Even the hockey rink, they're great people. The teammates, parents of his teammates, they're good that way. Yeah, they always want to know what's hey, how the Knights doing, congrats or whatever. But in general, after that, I'm just one of the dads there. Same with baseball. It's nice, and the coach Andy does a great job with that team. So it's nice to be around them. Unfortunately, this time of year too, we're still playing, which is great for us. Bad for me to see him play, but that's okay. I get out when I can, and nice spring nights here. It's a breath of fresh air to get out of the rink and watch baseball. I played it up till I was 17 years old. I love the sport, and nice to see Cole doing well and liking it as well.
Listen, I'm just going to let you know one thing. When they're asking you what's going on, if you're revealing anything to baseball parents that you're not telling us in the press room, I'm going to be very upset with you.
No, they don't ask about hockey very often, so I think it's a different crowd. But I'm sure they're paying attention. Everyone in Vegas, supports the team very well. So yeah, but no, they talk more baseball.
All right, Bruce, we'll see you at the rink tomorrow. Thank you for joining us, Bruce Cassidy, Golden Knights.
All right, thanks for having me, fellas. Enjoy your day.
AXS.com to get your tickets for the Knights. AXS.com. Games coming up on Sunday and Tuesday. More important note.
Yeah.
The haircut?
Yeah.
Or that the child is being reared at the Meadows School. Interesting place.
The Meadows is a top-notch place.
It is.
It is. And a lot of people do not realize this. If I'm not mistaken, well, I don't know about right now, but I remember when that place opened, and one of my good friends, an old school guy, that he was a football and baseball coach there. But it cost more to go there than it did Gorman or Faith Lutheran, but very good school. And when it was a small school football, but not to mention baseball, that was when it was 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A. And I think it went from 2A to 3A. Anyway, they were tops in the state.
Well,
you know who founded that school, right?
Who?
Carolyn Goodman.
Oh, okay.
She's the founder.
When he said Meadows, I happened to notice, I don't know if they were all local, but there was a bunch of kids today, recruits coming up this year and future at UNLV football practice today in the scrimmage. Mm-hmm. And one of them, we'll have to give him a call and try to get him on. One of them was the son of Frank Mir.
Oh, okay, yeah.
No shocker, he's a big kid.
Big boy.
He's not his dad yet.
And who went heads up on the in the trenches with Frank Mir when he was in high school at Bonanza?
Well, I don't know about heads up.
I thought they were
maybe head in the dirt.
I thought they were across the line from one another.
No, they did. They did, but it was only heads. It was only heads up for like 3/4 of a second until Frank Mir buried Adam Hill in the turf. But yeah,
You
his
didn't have
kid.
to, why did you have to bury him like that? Why couldn't you just left it nicely?
He's talked about it a million times. Not
I
like
know
he
it.
won.
I know he is.
You know what's funny?
But he's not here.
He's humble. He
Not
probably won a
here.
few battles. Yeah, I'm here. He probably won a few of the battles Adam did because he was not aggressive. That was the problem, and I think Frank Mir was very aggressive. But yeah, his kid looked like he was probably 6'2". I looked up one note on him. He said he was 205. He looked a little bigger than that, like kind of good sized legs. And for people who don't know who Frank Mir is, Frank was the UFC heavyweight champion, and I don't know where he is right now in terms of his size. I know he's 6'3.5". My guess is he's probably weighing about 280. So the kid's got some room to grow into, potentially having a physique like his dad.
Do you remember? I didn't really follow UFC back then, but Frank Mir, there was at some point in around 2017, 18-ish, but he hadn't fought in a while. He was making a comeback, and he fought down in San Diego, and I don't remember who it was up against, but his wife got involved with his nutrition because he was eating Taco Bell daily. And they went into a local establishment that at the time had, when we had seasonings, the perfect seasonings.
Oh, look at you.
And she loved this place. It was a high quality protein type healthy spot. And they were promoting our seasonings, and she asked about it. And the owner turned her on to Jordan, and Jordan wrote his meal plan and cut weight off of him in like 6 weeks to prepare. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Jordan ran
Good for Jordan.
his meals. So yeah.
Yeah, maybe he should write some meal plans for me. That would help me. Today's conversation that's the problem. You know what I will say? I don't want to make you jealous, but one of our listeners, Dave, usually brings by some cookies. Today he brought by some hot brownies. I actually put the brownie in one of my cases and locked up the case.
You know, it's
so
here.
I was like, I'm not going to have the brownie right now. I'll wait until later.
You'll like this because you've been checking my stories to see what I put on all of my social media channels, but I had to do a post. There's a box of donuts and homemade cupcakes sitting in the break room. They're really testing me today with this 40-day cut, but
I'm missing out.
But loyal Lucy, she asked me my opinion on what to put aside from your guy to your left there, Mateo. So Mateo's got a big surprise waiting when he gets here.
Oh, look at that. He's giving a fist bump. Thanks to VGK PR for setting us up today with the head coach of the Golden Knights, Bruce Cassidy. Our hockey conversation here is brought to you by Centennial Subaru, US 95 and Ann Road. You can be the boss at Centennial Subaru.
Your home for everything sports.